Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with the Wolverines. Excited to have you. I am your host, Alyssa Orange, alongside girls head soccer coach Kerry Castillo. And coach, we had a lot of people watch our first episode, which is exciting. If you did watch it, thank you. If you're just joining us, excited for you to be here as we follow along the soccer team throughout the whole entire season. So we get to talk to you once a week, which has been exciting. Let's kind of catch up where we left off. So you guys got to play Heritage.
We did.
And I know that there were some things coming out of that benefit game with Siloam that you wanted to see from your team and they wanted to see from themselves. What's your biggest takeaways?
They absolutely answered the call.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went over statistics today and just such a big difference in all of the key metrics, like how long we had the ball and the shots we took and just the attacking opportunities we had. And not only that, but the most important thing is the quality of their play.
Yeah.
They actually expressed that. Yeah. So we were super proud.
When you look at it, what's the biggest thing that this team needs to continue to do well right now, so early in the season?
Just to keep growing.
Yeah.
Together. Yeah. And finding their style of play as they express it individually and together. And so allow that to keep evolving.
How much coaching goes in for you in game situations?
In game situations, it's really helping them manage scenarios and moments psychologically and tactically.
Yeah.
So not a lot. Honestly, the players themselves are the most influential piece and coach, if you would, during the game because they're out there solving the problems.
Right.
So
yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, it's such a fast-paced game back and forth. To have that trust that your girls know what to do, they know how to correct themselves, that you don't have to be, vocal on the sidelines as much. Has to be nice.
Yeah, it is. And, every once in a while we have to pull some off and just speak to them. One, sometimes took us to calm them down and to reaffirm them, like their confidence in themselves. And sometimes tell them like, hey, we're getting this part wrong and this is how we can fix it. And off they go again. So, yeah.
Who stood out to you in that Heritage way?
Well, Brooklyn, who you're going to talk to later, right? She made some key saves early in the game that really gave us the confidence to go forward. Like, oh, wow, we're really playing well tonight. And it's like it trickled and created a domino effect, if you would, throughout the rest of the team to play well. Michaela Sullivan had 2 goals, one in the first half and one in the second half. And then Hadley Moore was great too. And I got to give our back line. I know you asked me for one. Okay. Now I'm giving you all 11,
and that's okay.
12 or 13, but our back line did a great job. We've got some veteran players in the back line that are still in basketball, keep winning, and great for them.
Yeah.
But it's really made some of our younger players step up. And so Hadley Rivkin, she's a freshman. She started last night, I guess, one of the better players in the conference. And just had phenomenal night. So super proud of her. Yeah,
I mean, I know you'd love your basketball girls to be here. However, that is invaluable experience for your younger kids.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. It's trial by fire.
Yeah.
Right. And they get thrown in and have to do a lot of growing up in a really short amount of time.
Yeah. You mentioned Brooklyn, and she's going to join us. Where have you seen her grow as a goalkeeper now that she's entering her junior year?
She just plays with so much more confidence. As a freshman, we went to the semifinals and I put her in for a penalty kick shootout as a freshman and she was mortified. But that's been part of her growth. And so last year when one of our goalkeepers, who was probably going to be our starter, she's now playing college, she tore her ACL early in the fall. And so, it's okay, Brooklyn, here it is. You've got to do the job. She did nothing but answer the call every single week. And, there were some days where she just didn't seem sure of herself. But now seeing her, not just the way she interacts with her team, but the way she handles herself in really high pressure situations and some of the saves that she makes, she's so full of confidence. So it's been so cool to see her do that. And you asked me how she made like a full horizontal laid out diving save last night.
Like parallel to the ground?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were all like,
there you go.
All the kids were on the side like, whoa, that was really cool. And so the sideline went crazy. And so she was really feeling it.
Sometimes when you put freshmen in those situations, like you say you did with Brooklyn her freshman year, you just don't know what that's going to do to their confidence or their game, because that's a big moment. And it sounds like she handled it as best as she could, but she learned from it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we went on to lose that game, and I think she's learned so much though. One, how to handle a really high pressure situation where you just get dropped in the middle of it, but also two, that everybody on the side, regardless of the outcome, we're gonna love you just as much when you come back over.
Right. As the goalkeeper, you see the entire field. You get to be vocal and call out what you see. How is she as a vocal leader on the pitch?
Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
She's speaking to our back line the whole time, telling them what to look for and whether a player is trying to sneak up behind them and telling them to slow down. Sometimes when they get pressured and play maybe a little frantic, we can hear her out there going, hey, slow down, just calm down and let's control the game.
How big is that for her from a growth standpoint as a junior? Now she's an upperclassman, and you talk about the seniors that graduated. She stepped in to those shoes pretty seamlessly.
She has, and that wasn't a part of her game, certainly as a freshman. And we saw it in spurts as a sophomore, and now that's just every day. That's commonplace for her. Yeah.
You also mentioned Michaela, who we had on our first episode, and I got to see some clips on your social media last week of some of her goals, and man, her footwork is stellar, and you sometimes forget, man, she's just a sophomore.
Yeah, and she said that's something she has been working on, right? She'd get out in the yard and work on that. I didn't know that. So to hear her say that, I was really proud of that. Yeah. As a coach, you always want to know that they're doing the extra things, but more importantly, to know that it meant that much to her. She saw a part of her game that she wanted to develop, and she owned it, right? And so last night, the footwork was on display, but also her speed and just tenacity. She just never stops running. Actually, one of our coaches looked over at me and was like, she just never stops going. Like, and she said last week, I just love to run. Right?
Girl, so you go out there and run your heart out. You run for me too. Just keep running for me. That's the truth. That's awesome. Now looking ahead to Rogers and what that brings to the table. And again, it's just early. So how much do you balance? And we can talk a little bit about Rogers, but then also how you balance just getting your team to continue to grow and develop their own identity early on. But also, I mean, that's a conference matchup, and you have to take it seriously.
Everyone is so important. Every August game is so important. There's tighter breaker points on the line, and then the points you get to win, et cetera. And so, but we as coaches have to stay focused on their development.
Right.
That's got to be the most important thing. Yes, we want to win, and yes, we want to make the playoffs, but the overarching main purpose is not just to make the playoffs. That's like the cherry on top, and if you do that part well and focus on their development, then come playoff time, you're playing your best ball because you have developed.
And you haven't burned them out. They're not going. Now you go 100%, but they're not burning themselves out early on to where they're exhausted come May.
Right. So today was more of a tactical knowledge day. We didn't, we kept them off their feet. We did a little recovery work and then watched film to get ready for Rogers. And so, is that part of development? Yeah, absolutely. It's, a lot of psychological piece to that and the recovery as well. So it's all part of the puzzle. Yeah.
We're going to talk to Brooklyn, as you mentioned, and she talked about how strong of a forwards they have with Rogers. What do you see on the tape with the Mounties?
Exactly that. I mean, from front to back, they're just a really solid team. They always are. Traditionally, Rogers is always in the top 3 or 4 in our conference, which means they're going to be in the top 3 or 4 in the state. Mm-hmm. They always have strong players. They're well coached. They have a tradition of winning. And so when you put those things together, it's really hard to beat a team.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what we're seeing. I think the part that's going to be the difference maker for us is just our athleticism and honestly right now our enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. Our girls are really buying into one another. And I think that projects itself out on the field. And I'll give you an example of why I say that. That might seem kind of cliche, but earlier this week we went to BHS and our 9th graders played. I know that sounds like, well, but that's the foundation of the program.
Yeah.
Correct. Absolutely. And they won 1-0. Mm-hmm. And that was just to see them interacting with each other in that situation and winning that game and seeing them work to earn that. We had almost all of the varsity girls on the sideline for that game watching the ninth graders. And so to see that part and to see it come onto the field in the way they play, not just Monday night, but turn around and bring it with them on Tuesday. That's going to be the thing that helps separate us from other teams.
I love that you tell that story. What do you think it meant to the ninth grade team?
Oh, my gosh. We actually talked about that yesterday with some of the ninth graders, just to reaffirm to the older girls, especially the ones in leadership positions, how important that is. And, I think I mentioned to you last time that our mantra this year is sisterhood. Well, so I asked the ninth graders, hey, share, if you don't mind, share with these older girls how you felt, like literally felt the emotions you had on the field as you saw them cheering for you and heard them cheering for you. And one of the girls shared that she was really nervous, like to the point of tears and scared even. But when she heard her teammates, especially the older ones, yelling for her, that all of those doubts and fears, they got muted. And all she could hear was them cheering.
That's special.
That was big time.
Yeah, that's huge. I love that. Now, after the Cylon game, you said the players kind of set goals for themselves for the next game. Do they have goals for themselves heading into this Rogers Magi?
I think it's to solidify our place. Yeah. They when we were looking at yesterday's game and getting ready for that and film the day before, a lot of the mindset was, okay, we're over the butterflies now, and so let's get to work. They were really more enthusiastic. Today, there was a different glare about them. It was more of a business look and feel and vibe in the room. And so they know how big this one is. We can set ourselves up to be in a really good position in the conference. It's still early, but this is one of those must wins, if you will.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to hear about how that game goes, of course, in our next episode. But coming up after the break, we've talked about her a handful of times, but Brooklyn Williams is going to join us, and we're going to learn a little bit more about the junior goalkeeper. Welcome back to Kicking It with the Wolverines, and we have Brooklyn Williams joining us. Excited, Brooklyn, to talk to you about the games you guys have played, the team, and your soccer journey. And, of course, you get to pick up Tringa where we left off last time. You ready to go?
Yes.
So let's talk about your games from last week and getting the win over Heritage. What was that game like, first game of the season?
Well, it was really competitive because Heritage is a really strong team. But I feel like compared to our first benefit game, we played way better than we were thinking that we were going to, because we were just really connecting last night.
Yeah, you say way better. What specifically did that look like for you guys?
During the first Siloam game, we were just kind of like frantic. I think we were a little like scared because it was our first game. But this game, we were way more confident. We trusted each other a lot more, and we were just taking a lot of shots.
Junior goalkeeper here. Talk about your role with this team.
Well, last year was my first really big year with the team because our main goalkeeper tore her ACL. And so I kind of had to step up and try to fill that position. And it was really challenging, but it turned out to be a really good year.
Yeah. And so this year, what have you really learned about your game and kind of honed in on specifically for you?
I think my confidence, because sometimes I struggle with that a little bit. So just trying to like lift myself up whenever I make a mistake. And I think that's really a big thing for me because we have a lot of really good goalkeepers this year. So it's been really competitive, and just making sure that I'm in the right mindset in that and just doing everything I can.
Yeah. So, of course, obviously, as the goalkeeper, you're saying that you got a full vision of the field. What were you saying? You talked about guys playing together, but truly, what were you seeing from your team yesterday in that win over Heritage?
We were just communicating a lot, which I think is a big thing because sometimes we're not the best at communicating. And so just communicating when someone has a man on their back or when they can turn, it was just way better last night, and just being able to pass around them.
And, of course, your job is to keep the ball out of the net, which you did very successfully against the War Eagles as well. What was that like? I mean, talk to me when you're kind of in that groove, or to be able to have that kind of accomplishment early on in the season.
It's really nerve-wracking because it was our home opener. A lot of people were there, and there was a lot of really strong forwards for Heritage. And so, I mean, pretty early in the game, there was like a 1v1 scenario. Thank God she kicked it right to me, so I didn't really have to do a lot. But I think her even just like taking the ball right to me like helped like make my confidence go up. Like, okay, I can do this. I did this last year. I can do it again. Yeah. And I mean, it was just kind of nerve-wracking at first, but then it kind of felt like it used to last year, and just kind of getting back into it.
Yeah, and so I'm sure it's a really good way for you to start your season, right? Like, I'll kind of knock the rust off a little bit. Be like, okay, I got this.
Yes.
What is it about being a goalkeeper that you love the most?
Getting to use my hands.
Okay.
I'm not.
No one else does.
I mean, I'm not the best with my feet. I think I'm okay for a goalkeeper, but there are some things, like some of the players, like Michaela or Hadley, like, I don't know how they run that fast, and, like, they're able to, like, do all these crazy tricks and stuff, and thank God I can, like, use my hands.
How long have you been playing goalkeeper?
I think for 6 years now.
Okay.
So, pretty long time.
Okay. So how did you start playing soccer?
About when I was 5, doing, like, the little league kind of stuff, and, like, on the really small goals.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember.
Sure, yeah. You're just young, running around, kicking that ball, and I think everyone kind of was like, just some go together. Right, exactly. When was it that you really fell in love with the game and wanted to play it at a competitive level?
I think when I moved here in 2020, so I was, like, in middle school, junior high, and that's when I first joined my club team, and I realized how competitive it was and how much I really wanted to do it in the future. And that's when I, like, kind of got serious about it, and I was like, this is something I really want to do.
So what are some things that you're working on and focused on for this year? Goals for yourself?
For myself would probably be, like I said, to raise my confidence and to also be better at jumping, because I do not have a good vertical. So I think just trying to be able to time my jumps right and to be able to get up there, even if I'm not the best jumper, to just be confident with it.
Looking at last year, going back to the way the season ended, losing to Bentonville in the playoffs, how different is this team from a year ago?
I think we're really angry that we lost, because I feel like it was kind of taken from us, and it was just not in the cards for us last year, I guess. And so the seniors that graduated last year were the last group that won state. So none of us have ever known what it feels like to win state. So I think that's driving us even more to want to win, especially for our seniors, so they can get a win.
And as an upperclassman, I'm sure that you as a leader too just want to be able to have that kind of success.
Yes.
What would it mean for you to be able to win a state title your junior year?
It would be everything, honestly. I mean, being on this team for 3 years, we've just come so close the past 2 years. Like, we're almost there.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can just, like, feel it. Like, you're almost there. And it would just be such a big accomplishment, I think, for everybody. And it would really set our path for the upcoming years.
Well, there's a lot of soccer left to play during the regular season. Again, game 2 coming up against Rogers.
Yes.
When you look at that matchup, what stands out?
They do have they have strong forwards. They're super fast. And so our defense is really strong this year, and I feel like it will be a good matchup, but also a really challenging matchup, because it's 2 really solid teams going against each other. So I'm nervous but excited.
Yeah, hey, no pressure. You just got to keep the ball in it.
Yeah.
Right? Just got to...
I can use my hands.
They don't win if they don't score. It's that easy. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I know that's going to be an exciting game with Rogers coming up, but are you ready for something that's probably going to be harder than goalkeeping? So we do the trivia. Okay. I'm not going to call Michaela out. She's the only one who has done this. We're going to keep track the whole entire season on who gets the most right. She didn't get any right last week. So there's nowhere to go but up from here. And it's a mixture of about the game, about history, maybe some pop culture-ish kind of things I'm going to do. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That was really confident. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Here we go. Question number 1. Who won the first 2 FIFA Women's World Player of the Year awards?
Can I toss? Can I? Don't know.
Okay, we'll circle back. We'll give you that. Okay. Again, I'll say who won the first 2 FIFA Women's World Player of the Year awards. So think about maybe someone who might be a little older who played this sport. Okay. All right. Here we go. What country won the first Women's World Cup?
Portugal.
The United States.
Okay. That's kind of just
totally okay. That is fine. All right, hitting you with a little bit of a pop culture one, okay? What 2006 movie starring Amanda Bynes, do you know who that is? Okay, that's all right, is about a girl who pretends to be a boy on a guy's soccer team? That's okay. It's all right too. It's called She's the Man. It's actually really good. She pretends to be a boy on a soccer team with her twin brother. It's funny.
Like Mulan, but different.
Right, with soccer, not whore. Okay, you ready?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to keep going. I had full faith in you. Remember, we get to roll back to that first question. Okay. What country has won the most World Cups?
United States.
No, that's a great Brazil. Brazil has won the most World Cups. All right, and here we go. Who is the only player to have won the World Cup 3 times? Male player to have won the World Cup 3 times.
Ronaldo.
That's a good guess, but Pele. Have you ever heard of Pele? It's great.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a step in the right direction. All right, here we go to the very first one.
Dang it.
Who won the first 2 FIFA Women's World Player of the Year awards?
I know she's not old, but Alex Morgan. That's the only guess.
A little older than Alex Morgan. That's a good guess, though. Mia Hamm.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's okay, though.
it's okay.
Hey, you did well. And you learned something.
I'm tied with Michaela.
You are. It's okay. It's totally okay. But now you got some soccer knowledge to take with you. Brooklyn, thank you for joining us on Kicking It with the Wolverines.
Thank you so much.
All right, welcome back. It was fun to visit with Brooklyn, Coach. And one of these days, I feel like my soccer trivia is getting judged. I'm going to have to maybe start making my questions a little easier.
It is eating me alive as I watch this because I know all.
It's okay. That's all right. You know what? They're such good sports, so we have a little fun.
They are.
So that's all that matters.
So.
Yeah, that's all that matters, truly, when we play soccer trivia. And you know what? They learned something. So, Brooklyn walked out of here and said she's going to watch She's the Man. And I told her it's a great movie. Go watch it, girlfriend. If you haven't seen it at home, you need to watch it too. But as we wrap up Kicking It with the Wolverines, Coach, the feel-good moment of the week for you.
It's got to be going back to the game on Monday against BHS with our 9th graders. And, because our 9th graders haven't beaten their 9th graders before. And so the last few seconds are ticking down on the clock, and all of our upperclassmen are on the sideline, and they're counting it down. 5, 4, 3, and the buzzer goes off. And the entire team, the upperclassmen that aren't dressed for the game, that are there watching, they're wearing their sisterhood sweatshirts, and they rush the field and just encircle these girls. They've just won this game. And they're jumping and dancing and screaming. And I looked at one of our coaches and literally said, did we just win a state championship right now? Because that's what this feels like, and they've created that.
I love that. I love that moment. One of very many, I'm sure, feel-good moments that you guys are going to have the entire season. Thank you so much for joining us on Kicking It with the Wolverines. We have fun here every single week, and we enjoy that you are here to experience it all with us. Make sure to tune in next week, and we're going to recap the Rogers win, look ahead to what's next for the Wolverines, have some more trivia, and I'm sure a lot more laughing to do, and maybe a right answer. Third time's a charm. Third episode is a charm. We're going to make it happen, right, Coach?
Yes, hopefully.
He's Coach Kerry Castillo. I'm Alyssa Orange. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.